Hello and welcome to the WeYouMe State of the Network number 26. On today, the 30th of September, you're here live with your host Harrison McLean, where we talk all about the latest updates to the WeYouMe project. But first, for those of you who are new here, what is WeYouMe? WeYouMe is a protocol for blockchain social media with a decentralized exchange and a peer-to-peer marketplace. Users can make posts on boards, groups, or profiles and encrypt them to make them private. Businesses can create crypto assets to represent voting power and distribute revenue. Merchants can list products for sale and receive free and virtually instant payments from customers. Users earn rewards when they post valuable content, earn tips, and can charge micropayments to access premium content. Supernodes earn rewards for providing file storage through IPFS. The protocol itself earns revenue by selling account memberships, post promotion, and charging trading fees. Every interface to the blockchain can choose which content to display and how to sort it. The protocol has no censorship. Users can choose which identity to use for posting, whether it's their full profile account, a persona account, or anonymously. Users and applications that create accounts for new users earn an ongoing share of the revenue from those users to act as a referral incentive. And let's go into this week's updates. So this week in the WeYouMe project, we have some changes to the white paper. So the WeYouMe white paper has been shortened from a massive 75 pages down into 15 pages. For those of you paying attention, that is the Pareto principle, 80-20. So this is the most important 20% of the white paper, which has about 80% of the valuable information. So that's in a new document called the White Paper Simple in square brackets. The previous white paper, or the main white paper, has been renamed White Paper Advanced. So this allows for a faster understanding of the WeYouMe project for non-technically inclined users. This change also includes a small alteration in the number of MeCoin issuance. So previously this was 10 million per year, and reminder, no MeCoin has been issued yet, and we will be instead changing this number to 1 billion per year. So this change is designed to further reiterate the separation between WeYouMe and MeCoin and to lower the per unit price of the currency while keeping all economic modeling identical. So this is just a change from the number 10 million to the number 1 billion. So all MeCoin numbers have been multiplied by 100 in order to facilitate a larger supply of the asset and a proportionally reduced unit price. So this encompasses one important thing, and that is to further get across the separation of the WeYouMe asset and the MeCoin asset, because the previous double usage of the number 10 million was causing some confusion. That adds another layer of obfuscation to the concept of having two assets. So this is a simplifying change to make it easier to distinguish the two assets when initially first hearing about the WeYouMe project. Next up this week, we have the mobile wireframe. So the mobile wireframe has been developed to include 5 major screens, including the boards, messages, notifications, home feed, and wallets. And these designs have been incorporated into the simple and advanced white paper in addition to the main website. Next up this week, on Thursday of last week, we had the Blockchain Center Startup Pitch Night. So WeYouMe pitched at the Melbourne Blockchain Center's event on Thursday and was quite well received to a pretty good crowd that had a lot of important questions to ask. And the judges also had quite a few important questions and made some well and truly valid points about where we can improve. So in particular, they specified that this network would be a much more valuable proposition when we have influencers signed up to start using it, and we agree 100%. Next up is the website changes. So the use case graphics that you previously would have seen a few months ago, they have all been overhauled and they've been re-included in the website backed by popular demand. among a few other changes. So I'll go over the new look WeYouMe website in just a moment. But first, before that, we have thread review. So every week, WeYouMe makes a post to Steam announcing the state of the network, and you can comment in that thread each week for your question or comment to be discussed on the next week's state of the network. So every thread is up for 1 week in advance. And comments can include questions, discussion topics, feedback, memes, videos, or pictures, and the best comment in each week's thread will be winning 10 Steam. So let's take a look through the thread for this week, or for last week rather. So last week's thread, State of the Network number 25, had quite a few comments. Let's take a look through what the comments were. We have Nelvis, who says, "What enthusiasm I feel knowing that soon we will be on a platform where, in addition to socializing, we'll be able to negotiate our projects, where we will not be censored, a fresh way to earn cryptocurrencies with publishing, commenting, and promoting." Very good. We have John Robert, who has said, "I'm excited for how WeYouMe will bring censorship-resistant communication and barrier-free commercial opportunities to every man, woman, and child around the world." Fantastic comment there as well. And then we continue to go down here. So 50 BitShares, the reward has been upgraded to 10 Steam, which is worth about twice as much. We have a pretty cool picture here from Sandra G. We have Adil Studio asking, "Do you know where we can exchange? Can you provide the exchanging platform?" And he will buy the asset. So BitShares is the exchange platform, and that is in fact linked in the post. So if you go to exchange.azera.io or .weyoume.io, then that will go through to the BitShares exchange. We have Cardboards asking, "So Steam competition?" Yep, that's right. There's a Steam competition that we're going to announce later on. We have Helixius saying, "Censorship is a huge issue in today's society. So I, for one, am glad to see someone addressing it." Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll be talking a little bit more about that later on in the video when we get into our discussion topics for this week. And that appears to be the majority of the comments. So the highest voted comment for this week was... It was Nelvis with the BitShares address there, but we are upgrading to 10 Steam, which is worth about twice as much. So that's Nelvis. Gets 10 Steam. Congratulations to Nelvis. On winning this week's competition. Also, by doing the reward in Steam, it allows people to be able to win without necessarily providing their BitShares address. So it makes everything a little bit easier to participate in. And we'll be seeing some more of that when we do our Steam competition later on in the video. And for those of you who are new to the WeYouMe YouTube channel, you can press like and subscribe to keep up to date with all of our future hangouts and all the updates that are going to be coming over the next few weeks. We've got some major breakthroughs in our testnet, And with that said, we'll move on to this week's discussion topics. So first up on our discussion topics for this week is the massive revelation that Facebook has in fact leaked 50 million. That's right, 50 million account logins through haphazardous programming with regards to their access tokens. So I'm just reading some of the details here. The vulnerability was announced on the 25th of September, where nearly 50 million Facebook accounts were compromised, and it gave attackers the ability to take over users' accounts. This is according to The Guardian, quoting the source. And it was accessed through a View As feature. So when you used the View As button, allegedly that is what was responsible for leaking access to the account, and that people have in fact had their accounts hacked through this unfortunate bug. And this is all terrible as it is, but the next thing that happened is even worse. And what happened after that was that Facebook filtered posts about this by automatically declaring them spam for several hours after this event broke. So not only did they have 50 million account access tokens leaked, they then proceeded to filter articles about the incident on their platform. So they had an automated algorithm that picked up the posts and removed them as spam for several hours after the event, and it just really points to the level of authority and power that this behemoth has in the market, when they can not only do the wrong thing but then cover up their mistakes afterwards. So with that said, we'll move on to the next topic, and that is that cryptographic key pairs like the one you use for your Steam account and will use for your WeYouMe account fundamentally alter the security scenario. So in order for 50 million users to have their account access details actually hacked, the information first has to be in a central database. And the larger the amount of information and the more valuable the information that's held in a central place, the greater the incentive becomes for people to attack it and to extract the information from it. So when you have it all bundled together, it acts as a very, very large magnet for anyone who's looking to wreak some havoc or make some money. So by having user accounts accessed through cryptographic key pairs, that's a public key and a private key on a blockchain, what you can do is distribute out the ownership of the login information to all of the individual users themselves. So what that means is that the central company never needs to run a custodial database to hold their users' account details, because it's backed up on a blockchain that they don't have admin control to. And that's a vastly superior security model than having it all in one place, ready to be attacked the second the database accidentally leaks the wrong information. So the next thing we're going to bring up this week is a similar story, not quite similar, but on the same sort of tone, coming out of Reddit. And that is that Reddit has quarantined multiple subreddits, and most of those subreddits don't violate any terms of service of the website. So on Reddit, there are some subreddits that are devoted to some topics that are not usually, or that are not completely within the Overton window, but don't actually violate any site rules. And instead of going the whole way and banning them, what they've done is they've actually put a big quarantine barrier before you can access quite a lot of these subreddits. And they point to Reddit's own personal sort of academic research or academic viewpoints on these subjects to sort of act as a simultaneous ideological barrier and as a face-saving political deflection. So because they can't ban them outright because they haven't done anything wrong according to the site's terms of service, they haven't broken any site-wide rules, because Reddit disagrees with some of the politics that these subreddits are in favor of, they've instead gone with a soft censorship and placed a quarantine barrier in front of them that makes them harder to get to. And it also removes the count of the subscribers on these subreddits. So some of them are quite small, but some of them are also quite big, with in the vicinity of 300,000 subreddits for the largest one that was quarantined. And they've had articles posted on this quarantine barrier that are from sources that are in direct factual contradiction with the material that are on these things. So it's sort of a political saving face, and it really allows Reddit to distance themselves from these communities even though they're within the same platform. So it's only a matter of time before Reddit goes the next step and starts to actually ban these and make up whatever reason they can to actually ban these subreddits. The next one up this week is Steam hard fork number 20. And this one has been probably the most devastating Steam hard fork we've had so far. And it really reflects a really, really chaotic ecosystem of intermingling interdependencies on code bases without equal or even adequate levels of communication between the developers. So what has happened is Steam executed hard fork number 20, and it had some major flaws in it, including a new resource credit system that made it very difficult for low Steam power accounts to actually use the site because they were rate limited far too fast, absolutely ridiculously fast. And then after that, Steam released a modification that increased the resource credit allowance by a factor of 10. So they were off by an entire order of magnitude on what would be a usable amount of resource credits per account. And what we've seen is not the majority of, but about half of the entire Steam application ecosystem has seen outages. And one particular thing that has seen an outage, which is probably a net benefit, is the Steam voting bots that I often talk about. They're actually down at the moment. Some of them haven't voted in hundreds of hours. Up to 100 hours on the longest one, and 50 or so hours on the others. So they have been out of action for quite a few days now, and who knows when they'll be back up. But if you go to the trending page now, you can actually see Steam as it was before the scourge of voting bots. Now, let's not lie here. WeYouMe often utilizes voting bots, and it's absolutely a great thing to see that these are no longer available, because it restores the original level of quality posting that was required to reach the trending page. And it's a fantastic thing that these are no longer available, even though we have been using them to really illustrate the depth of the problem. So what you can see now on trending is a return to the early days of Steam before there were voting bots, the times that I quite often talk about and strive to reach again with WeYouMe. And that moves us through the discussion topics for this week. And before we go on to the new WeYouMe website, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask about? Anyone have any questions they want to bring up about these discussion topics or anything that we've done throughout the rest of the live stream?
Hey, Harrison. I'm curious about the Steam hard fork. I'm actually clueless about a lot of Steam, and as a user who kind of just goes on there to read, I think I've got like 4 or 5 posts maybe. Like, how does that affect me?
So for you, it shouldn't affect you as long as you've got a reasonable amount of Steam power. The resource credit problem wouldn't have affected you too much. However, for a lot of low Steam power users, the initial amount of resource credits that were provisioned in hard fork 20 meant that they could only do a couple of posts per week, and it reset over the course of 5 weeks. Another thing that happened was that the resource credits initially allocated was 0 for a lot of accounts. They didn't actually take the voting power that people had active and apply it over, so they basically started from scratch. So many accounts were left with no resource credits and couldn't recharge them for quite a few days. So if you weren't using it during that particular time, then you should have been fine. but quite a lot of accounts have been unable to post, and the API nodes and WebSocket nodes for quite a lot of services have actually gone down significantly. In fact, the alpha has been not too available for the past couple of days, and we'll talk about that in the competition section, but I'm pretty sure it is back up at the moment. So we've been able to get that one back online, back online, but it was unfortunately off the website. Wasn't quite working properly for a little bit due to our information feeds from the WebSockets that we pull the Steam blockchain from. But hopefully in the next couple of days we'll be moving on to the WeYouMe testnet chain, which will not have this same level of chaotic downtime behavior. So with that said, we'll go through to the WeYouMe alpha, which should be back up and running now. There we go. So the WeYouMe alpha does pull its Steam blockchain information from some WebSocket APIs. And it has been down for a little bit now, but it is fortunately back up online. Great thanks to Nick for getting that one back up. So as we can see, on the new trending page, the highest voted post is actually only $104 US. So this really harps back to a time before there were voting bots. And yeah, we're seeing, oh, here we go, 50 million Facebook users compromised on the trending page. Fantastic to see this information getting out. And yep, so that one's back up and working quite well. And with that said, we'll go through to the next part. Did you have any other questions before we move along? Okay, we'll move on to the next part of the state of the network, and that is the details around this week's competition. So before we draw the last week's competition, we will begin the next competition, and that is post on Steam answering the question, which Steam creator do you want to join WeYouMe at launch and why? So include the tag hashtag WeYouMe and tag the Steam creator that you're referring to in your post, and then link your post in the competitions Discord, and the highest upvote value post will win 50 Steam. And the winner will be announced in next week's State of the Network, and if the winner is present, they will win a bonus 25 Steam. So what we'll do is we'll move back to last week's competition, which was on the WeYouMe tag. So including the WeYouMe tag from last week, we have the highest voted entry, which is Mariana for VE. Yeah, Mariana looking like our winner for this week. And her article was, which feature would I like to see in WeYouMe and why? So she describes what WeYouMe is. And here we go. There is a feature that I would like to add, a friendly and intuitive writing interface that allows us to create posts in a simple way with a wide range of options to choose and different types of letters, sizes, and colors. Also, it would be great if we could change the location and the size of the pictures in a simpler way. That's a very important point. So at the moment in the Steam writing user interface, users only have the ability to use the alignment tags and center, and it's quite confusing to organize images and resize them. So a simpler way to resize and move around images would be a fantastic addition. I'm thinking in a fusion between the WordPress interface and the famous Word program tools. It would be a great benefit because it wouldn't take us hours to make a post adding Markdown or HTML. I know from my own experience that for users who are not programmers, using these types of languages can become quite frustrating. Also, I show above a small visual example of how the interface would look with this feature. What do you think of this idea? Is it difficult for you to post in Steam it now? Do you think this would help them generate more content of a better quality? Absolutely. And please answer, I'd love to read all your opinions. And there's the link to Beyond Bitcoin Cast, fantastic Spanish-speaking group that spreads blockchain education all throughout South America. So congratulations to Mariana, our winner for this week, and even including the cool image here, where it shows a very Microsoft Word-like interface to write posts so that they can be formatted properly without requiring all sorts of markdown. Multiple colors on the letters. Very good. So our winner for this week is Mariana 4VE. And Mariana is here, so that boosts it to 75 Steam. One of the largest competitions prizes that we've had in quite a while. So congratulations, Mariana. Really liking this new type of competition that's based on Steam that really allows for a little bit more fleshing out of the ideas. And the image idea too. So our winner for this week is Mariana 4VE 75 Steam. Congratulations, Mariana. And moving on with the rest of the state of the network. What we'll do is we'll post a link to Mariana's post on the Discord. Using the alpha.
I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
Sweet. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so with that said, we'll move through to discussion about the private seed round. So WeYouMe is in the process of undergoing a private seed round where we're raising capital from private investors. 15% of the total WeYouMe supply is on offer to seed round investors at a price of $3 per unit. The minimum investment is $50,000 with a maximum investment per investor of $500,000. A 10% bonus is applicable on all investments of over $250,000, and they are illiquid until the mainnet release. You can contact us at harrison@weyoume.io to arrange an acquisition of WeYouMe crypto equity, which does earn a return in MeCoin on a weekly basis. And if you don't have enough to contribute seed round funding, then you can help by sharing this video, liking this video, subscribing, and letting everyone you know that there is a better way on the horizon, and introducing investors to WeYouMe. And of course, I'd like to thank all of our angel investors for their ongoing support. Dow Street, Meta, BitShares 2010, thank you all for your ongoing support in the angel funding round. And we'll move on to the questions and answers and general discussion. So here we have open questions for myself and the team about any subject. And you can email harrison@weyoume.io for any other queries, team role applications, proposals, or business matters. And you can campaign to become a mainnet WeYouMe witness, developer, marketer, or advocate by creating a thread on Steam and posting a link to the witness, dev, marketing, or advocate Discord section. You can hold BitShares, Steam, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, or EOS in a wallet you control to receive a share drop of mainnet WeYouMe, and you can join us in our Telegram channel at www.t.me/WeYouMe network. So does anyone have any questions before I pass off to Nick for his development updates for this week? Okay, so if no one has any questions, then I will pass the mic over to Nick, the WeYouMe lead developer, for him to discuss the development updates that we have for this week. And if Nick could link his GitHub thread on the updates of this week into the Discord, that'd be fantastic. I've got him here on the stream.
Alright, 1 sec. Yep, done.
And take it away.
Alright, hi everyone. My name's Nick. Yeah, it's going good. We finished the auth interface, and I'm just doing the final touches on the interface because we've changed all the Steam variables over to our variables, and yeah, it's not the smoothest process to do that, but yeah, it's going good. You can basically, the testnet is at the stage where you can post, you can sign up, you can authenticate through the authentication API, you can transfer money. Yeah, I'm fixing like powering up. I'm fixing like small bugs, and then yeah, the testnet should be live very soon. If you go to the thread, there's a couple things like a couple of interface changes. It's not the most interesting, but there's a few screenshots if you want to compare what we've changed from Steam Connect mainly. Yeah, so this week was largely spent changing Steam Connect to it. We're just using it as a generic auth console thing. But yeah, that was like a bit of the week, and yeah, we changed a few things. I don't know. I won't get into specifics, but it's going good. And yeah, it's coming soon. So I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yep, we're just showing off the updates on the GitHub repo. So what we've seen is a lot of changes, particularly to the Steam Connect interface, improving the sign-up process. So previously, Steam Connect had very few user-friendly links to actually create accounts, and what we've done is added in quite a few improvements to that to facilitate the process of creating accounts. reintroducing user-created, user-generated passwords, major security improvement, stops people needing to copy down a password and have the ridiculous jumble of letters that Steam currently calls a password that was not there at the start. I tell you what, that's not how it was at the start. We're putting back user-generated passwords where they belong. And yeah, just really improving the Steam Connect experience. And yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the testnet initial release as we go.
Yep. Yeah, I doubt many people will even use the Steam Connect interface, but helps developers. And yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, so before we finish up for today, does anyone have any other questions that they'd like to bring up? And of course, if you don't have a mic, then you can always type the questions and I will read them out. Got one typing. That's okay if you yeah, just if you want to come over next week to the state of the network after you've done a little bit more discussion about like what we're doing, then yeah, you can definitely, or you could pop your question into the state of the network thread. If you're not quite wanting to bring it up in the live stream, that's fine as well. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps us up for this week. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in this week to the State of the Network. Thank you to all of our angel investors. Thank you to all those who like and subscribe to this video on YouTube, and get the message out to all of your friends that currently are just not quite satisfied with the experience they're having on other social media platforms. We are developing a better way that puts security first for user accounts, that allows users to own their data again and allows people to once again experience a product that really delivers freedom, transparency, and community. Instead of just connecting to a central business, we're going to have a peer-to-peer social media network without a central business being in the middle of everything. So with that said, my name is Harrison McLean, and together we will build the next world. Thank you, and good night.